What's up, everyone? You're tuned in to the channel Eps130. I'm your host, EEPMON. Please like and subscribe if you do like the content and share it around. Much appreciated. And I'm sure it'll be useful for those aspiring creative entrepreneurs and those who are looking into engaging the digital content space. So let's get started. As some of you know, I will be in Japan in about 4 days. I can't believe this. And of course, I'll be there not just to enjoy, but also for continued B2Bs. The Team Canada trade mission to Japan continues for me, and it's all about building continued relationships, continued return, and establish and scale your connections. So, on that note, I like to talk about 5 key points that I like to share and to kind of percolate as to how I strategize, why I go there, and how it inspires my creative endeavors. So, on that note, finding inspiration in Japan, creative growth, cultural diplomacy, and of course, Canadian connections. Number 1, discovering Japan's blend of tradition and modernity. Number 2, exploring Japanese art and aesthetics. Number 3, finding solitude and reflection in nature. Number 4, engaging in cultural diplomacy. And 5, showcasing Canada's creative industry. So, let's get started with point 1, which is discovering Japan's blend of tradition and modernity. Now, Japan offers a unique fusion of ancient culture and cutting edge technology, which could inspire new directions in your or my digital art or digital creations. So, I'll talk a little bit about how the balance between tradition and innovation energizes my creativity and informs, of course, my entrepreneurial approach. On that note, when I go back, it's almost like a reset. And especially going to a new environment, it does something. It does something to you creatively. It provides you a new, fresh perspective, a new look of how people in Japan in the creative industry do things. And especially the ability for what I've noticed in Japan, the ability to balance between traditional and modernity is quite fascinating because, as I mentioned in my previous episode, the opportunities are always in the 180. Japan has this, I think, incredible way of pivoting between modernity and tradition, and trying to even establishing a blend that merges the two together. The nuance is very subtle, but truly impactful. And their methodology and process to establish such a equilibrium between these two seemingly polarized worlds is very inspirational, and as such truly inspires and energizes me, not just creatively but as a human being, like a well-being, you know what I mean? And every time I go back, there's always something new that I get out of it. And I'm not going to go there and it's not a place where you want to, like, of course, it's not spending a lot of money in order to get these inspirations. It's not about that. I'm very frugal when I travel. So I like just to enjoy walking to a shrine, going to the major Shibuya crosswalk, just getting lost in parts of the city, traveling across Japan. All these things subconsciously, I believe, adds value to my creative process. Number two, I could go on for this forever, but I know that we're limited time, so I'm gonna go straight to two. Exploring Japanese art and aesthetics, and like very similar to what I said to about number one. From traditional woodblock prints to contemporary anime, manga, Japan's diverse artistic heritage could provide fresh inspiration in one's work. Like I said, so I like to highlight how immersing myself in Japanese art forms can lead to new digital projects and collaborations that reflect a cross cultural perspective. So, of course, as I mentioned, it's not just immersing myself in Japanese art. I mean, let's face it. You go there everywhere. The environment, the surrounding is a work of art, right? You go to the ryokan and you see like just the looking at the Japanese garden, ikebana. It's just sort of the way they even uh, uh, the space and design or retail experience. And you walk in, like all of this is a truly work of art. You know, the way the whole like even like going to a hotel or going to some like workspace, the design and the thoughtfulness of even as simple as an elevator, the sound, like they take so much pride in the sound of the elevator when it comes down to your floor. It's not like a beep, an obnoxious beep that we have here in the West, but it's just the ambiance and the glow of the elevator light when it approaches. Like it is so well methodically designed that it's essentially do not leave any stone unturned. Like they truly, truly dot their I's and cross their T's, providing a very sound experience. To me, that is a work of art. Let's not talk about Japanese woodblock prints. The experience, the spatial experience, the atmospheric interaction, just walking around, entering a space, that alone is inspirational. Entering a space, entering a shrine, the procession to walk to into the shrine or the temple. There's all these subtleties and symbolisms as if it was a cleansing ritual to get to the point of interest. Now, how does that inform my digital art? Well, one example is I'm very inspired by wabi sabi. If you don't know what wabi sabi is, I recommend you to look it up. Or even the besenware. I'll show you one example of besenware. Is something like this. This is a bowl that I bought in Japan many, many years ago. But look at it. It is unassuming, yet the color, the muted colors, is what is very natural. It is what it is. It's nothing spectacular, yet it is absolutely beautiful. And yes, I will have this. I will put my rice on this later on. I'm just making dinner right now. Haha. But I was inspired by this texture that I created a program. I coded a program that could generate art based on this type of texture. I call it the Machia project. I still have it. I have not yet released it, but I'm really passionate about I was very passionate in building it. All the inspiration that I got from Japan, going to the matcha houses in Kyoto, informs in my generative art process. And then I created a new body of work. So there's one example. Let's move on. Number 3, find solitude and reflection in nature. Oh my goodness. As some of you know, Japan is known for its serene landscapes, from temples to tranquil gardens. So I'll just talk a little bit about my time and my upcoming trip visiting to these very tranquil, peaceful settings, which allows me to, as I mentioned earlier, reset, recharge, rejuvenate, and bring back fresh energy in my creative endeavors. Okay? Let's face it, folks. Like, I went to these natural onsens. Onsens, like these hot baths that are like naturally heated with volcano, right? The minerals, it's healthy. It's the water is so clean, and you're just bathing, and the illumination of the light of the light that shines on the water, and there's shrubs and all. Like, it's just so serene. Okay, and I'm looking out, and you can see like the sky's getting really dark. There's a dark hue blue, and you see the silhouette of the mountains. Like, I was in Hakone. Of course, Hakone's got the incredible onsens there. I could have just. It was one of my spiritual um, engagements or experiences, and just being at peace. No one next to me, no one to bug me, in my own solitude and reflecting. Now, okay, maybe most people said, well, how is that going to encourage or empower your art? If you really hone in to yourself and feeling a sense of bliss and sublime, you will connect to your inner self, your subconscious, your alignment. And this euphoria, this energy, this positivity, this sort of meditation takes hold of you and does a reset. It's almost like a cleansing of the mind, a cleansing of the body. And it does something. It absolutely does. I would encourage those to, whether it's going to be in Japan or elsewhere, travel alone, seek solitude. Go to a place that you can be yourself and align with yourself. That's what I do. That's why I go to Japan. That's why I go. That's pretty much why I travel alone. But that in itself also empowers and my creativity, impacts my creativity, because simply it's a moment of it's a time to reflect. Now, you can do that anywhere you want, but there's something about Japan that just really resets and re-energizes me. Hope that makes sense. So number 4, what I look forward to is, of course, engaging in cultural diplomacy. Now, as I mentioned in my previous episode, I seem to be evolving or growing as a creative entrepreneur. I also seem to be engaged more into cultural diplomacy, arts and culture. As I mentioned, I was in the band forum. I was on Team Canada trade missions, minister-led. I was recently at the United Nations General Assembly events related in New York City. And through my many years in my as a creative entrepreneur in digital arts, I've built. I like to think I've built some good relationships with the diplomats or the Canadian embassy, in particular Japan. So it would be for me wise that I continue the dialogue. Right, I was there for creative industries. So what I want to do is engage. Number 4, engage in cultural diplomacy, and with my passion in the arts and cultural diplomacy, I do feel that I need to reconnect with the Canadian embassy in Tokyo and engage in discussions surrounding cross cultural dialogue, perhaps. And perhaps also share how I can be a bridge to continue the long-standing friendship ties between Canada and Japan, continue to build the bridge of cultural understanding, and perhaps potential embassy hosted events where I can be of use. I don't know what it is, but I feel that there's something there, right? Like I said, I don't know what it is. There's a cloud. I mentioned there was this cloud where cultural diplomacy seems to be beaconing. Is that even a word? Beaconing? There's just something happening. My subconscious or my intuition tells me there's something that needs to unravel and explore more. And that's what I'm going to do. I need to seek it out. I need to figure it out. And we'll see. I will be at the embassy, and let's see what happens. Life is adventure. Number 5, finally, showcasing Canada's creative industries. So via my connection and reestablishing the relationship with the embassy, I believe that, at this point in time in my career, I like to think that I have done some engagement in my creative endeavors with institutions across Canada, museums, galleries, working with brands. I think I have leverage. I think that I can showcase my digital art and my entrepreneurial projects, and showing how me as a Canadian can be a representative or influence on the global art and tech scene, right? I do generative art. I've done things in Japan, worldwide. So I'm just speaking out really, like, just being very honest with this, because I think that there is something there. Now, of course, is there any guarantees? No, of course not. But as I mentioned, my intuition tells me that this is something that I need to explore, something that I need to unlock. By the way, this cup is Hasami Porcelain. It's a Japanese brand. You see what I mean? Like, Japan design, I tell you. I think a lot of my things around me is actually from Japan. No cap. But yeah, like that's even slime is from, this is Dragon Quest, from game Dragon Quest. For those who know, you better know. Phenomenal game, classic. So yeah, those are my 5 points. I'll put in the show notes, and I hope that for those who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs can get some insightful tips from what I have to offer, even though I may be in the creative capacity. But I think the underlying notion or understanding in this episode is about taking risks, embrace these unknowns and uncertainties, right? I know that we often feel a bit of fear And I know that it does, you might have to sacrifice some investment and financial means to explore your curiosities and trying to get opportunities, but this is the way it is, folks. Nothing nothing is ever given to you on a silver platter unless you are like so happen to be connected or born in that world. For the rest of us, we need to explore. And as I speak, currently right now, that is what I'm doing. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. This is the Channel Eves episode 130. I am packing up and getting ready. It's going to be a long flight, and it will be an adventurous one. Please also find me on Instagram, where I'll be doing behind the scenes posts and stories for those interested in knowing what goes behind the scenes while I'm traveling to Japan. Fantastic. Okay, folks, have a great evening. Have a great afternoon. Have a great morning, wherever you are in the world. This is the Channel Eeps, episode 130. EEPMON signing off. Goodbye.